The more you surround yourself with men who were raised primarily by women, you increase the probability of finding men who don't like accountability. They just don't like it. It's safe for women when men hold men accountable.
That's one of the things the devil
Right.
does. The devil want to isolate you.
The spirit want to inhabit somebody. He's going to inhabit somebody who he can separate.
And my thing is this: you have to admit what you did, because if you're not willing to admit it, then you're not willing to stop doing it. And I know I shouldn't be smoking weed, but I just, I hit the weed every now and again.
But there was a fear in him that was keeping him separate from everybody.
I talk a lot. I always got something to say, but I'm a good listener.
Right? But most women really don't like the version of their husbands that they have when he ain't got no brothers. But I remember talking to you in another conversation. I was telling you how men who are primarily raised by women, 9 times, 8 times out of 10, this is our problem. If you take 10 men that was raised by women, that's us. We have a huge problem with accountability. That's our demographic. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not saying every brother's that way, but increase it. The more you surround yourself with men who were raised primarily by women, you increase the probability of finding men who don't like accountability. They just don't like it. And accountability and responsibility are two different things. They can take on responsibility, right?
Yeah.
But they don't like accountability. They're apprehensive of it. And they don't like another man holding them accountable. Because if you hold them accountable, it's viewed as an insult or a threat. Just to hold a man accountable.
Hey,
Brother, you said you was gonna be here at this time, but you
right.
weren't here.
Hey,
Brother, you said you
hey,
was gonna do
listen.
this.
I'm
Right.
big on that because
But
I listen to people's words, and I'm a good listener. I talk a lot. I talk a lot. I always got something to say, but I'm a good listener. And when people say things, I'm listening. And then when because what I find dealing with people is that people tend to just say anything. They just say stuff, and then when it's not, when what they're saying is inaccurate, it doesn't apply, or it's just some abstract thing they said, and you say, well, hold on, and then they move on to the next thing. They go on to the next whatever, right? They just say, well, they just keep on going like nothing happened. Like, whoa, 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 bro. You said X,
we're not
Y,
just gonna
Z,
slide past it like you
and
didn't say
yeah,
what you just said.
like, can we, what I'm saying? Because, and my thing is this, um you have to admit what you did, because if you're not willing to admit it, then you're not willing to stop doing it. If
Right.
you catch a person stealing, you catch a child or anybody, and they took something, and you say, listen, you took XYZ, right? Uh, I got you on camera doing it, and I know you did it. And they say, well, where's the footage? Well, I don't have the footage with me right now, but I saw it. I saw you do it, and they say, well, no, it wasn't me. So, if you know what I'm saying? So that lets you know if they're not willing to admit what they did or admit their fault, they're not willing to stop doing it. And so for me, it's big to say, hey, this happened, that happened, you said this and you did this, or you said this and this was incorrect. And if you're not willing to acknowledge and say, hey, yeah, I was wrong. I did that, and it was wrong, then you're not willing to stop doing. You're not in the place where you want to stop doing it, because I know from experience there's things that I've dealt with in my life that I wasn't ready to stop doing. I wanted to
Right.
go before the Most High, and I wanted to be forgiven for it, and I wanted to be at peace with those things, but I wasn't ready to stop doing it. So guess what? It stopped me from doing? Confessing my faults.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the scripture says, confess your faults one to another. And what'll prevent a person from doing this when they're not willing to put down what it is they're dealing with. And so they don't confess their faults. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Because once you confess it to another brother, another sister, now there's that accountability. And when they see you, they know what you're struggling with, and they're gonna be looking at you to watch you and make sure you're not putting yourself in
You're
a
not.
position
Yeah.
to go back down that road. So,
Right.
if I can't let go of the weed. I can't, like what my man Stephen A say, you can't get off the weed, right? And so, and I know I shouldn't be smoking weed, but I just, I hit the weed every now and again.
Right.
I keep me a little sack, you know. And so I'm tired of this. I really don't want to stop doing this. So I want to tell somebody so they can hold me accountable, but I kind of still want to smoke this blunt. You know what I'm saying? But cause I know once I tell this brother, hey man, I've been struggling with this marijuana, bro. I've been smoking on and off here and there, and then the brother, y'all gonna have a conversation. So he gonna say, I tell you, all right, bro, what you got on you now? Give it to me now. I'm gonna take that from you, and I'm gonna try to help you not do those things. When you really serious and you at that point, you go to the brother, you go to the brethren, and you say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. Help me overcome it. But the evil, the demonic spirit that is attached to a person that's dealing with whatever it is, they're gonna try to
Hmm.
convince you to stay away from them and keep that to yourself. That's one of the things the devil
Right.
does. The devil want to isolate you and get you by yourself so he can just keep you trapped. But when you go to your
You know what's
brothers
crazy?
and you confess those things and they're praying for you, your mama praying for you, your friends and your loved ones praying for you, prayer is powerful. And it will
Hey,
loose those bonds that's holding you captive to that sin and you can be free from it. But go ahead.
it's funny. It's funny that you say that about the isolation because just looking back through life, it was the men who loved isolation. I'm not talking about, you know, in the biblical or antiquated sense. I'm talking about in the modern day sense. These brothers, modernly, modern Israelites.
Yeah.
It's the Israelites who desired isolation the most or separation the most. They were the ones who were normally harboring
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
these spirits that would cause dysfunction if they were around other people.
Yeah. It's
But
it
but
it
they
can definitely be
translate
a
that
telltale
as
sign.
yeah, but they translate it as no people full of madness, people full of confusion. I just me and the most high. I just try to do. I've heard that in different iterations from men
Everybody the
and women.
problem but them. It's everybody
Everybody's a
else.
problem with them, right? We had a couple who was, they would come every now and then, but they didn't want to be around for gatherings and all this. And you know, the brother, he was a good brother, strong brother. He's one of the quiet type, right?
Yeah.
And so we wouldn't able to engage with the brother as much as we wanted to, but he loved, to come around and leave without anybody expecting him to stay, right? I'm coming in here, I'm gonna read these commandments, we're gonna go through this lesson, I'm gonna do my shalawams, and then we're leaving, right? Come to find out, the brother was um his wife was under a lot of stress because he
Mhm.
was a very, very, very angry and jealous man. And he believed that every brother was out to get his wife. And she was shooting looks at somebody, you know. Even after we talked to the brother, did your wife ever cheat? No. I mean, brother, well, have you cheated on her and you feel like no? Then where is this coming from? Have you called a brother trying to slip your wife the number or something, or vice versa? No.
Right.
What's going
What
on?
is this rooted in?
Brother, there was a fear in him that was keeping him separate from everybody. So that was the
Yes.
reason why him and his wife and his children were unable to assemble with us and do other things besides just read the scriptures and leave, right? Because she was kind of caged in by his fear, right, and his anger and all this. So he would lash out at her when he got cheated on in the past. And the crazy part about it, we tried to talk to the brother about it, but it was like the longer we talked about it, the more belligerent he got. You know what I'm saying? Not that we was saying anything wrong to him, it's just he didn't like talking about this. So we couldn't find out if it was because he had got cheated on in the past by somebody he loved, or and he never confessed how much he cared about her and how this affected him to somebody. Whatever it was, it really had a hold on him. He was punishing his wife and his children because of the fear that was in him. But unfortunately, they moved somewhere else before we were able to remedy the situation. And so I don't know how that situation turned out. But
Yeah,
it's always
fair.
those brothers. We had another brother who a good upstanding brother, man. Or we thought he was good and upstanding, of course. But he was a truck driver, and even when sometimes he'd be off the road for weeks, because he making bread like that. He can afford to do that. We always make fun of him, bro. You ain't got no job, but yeah, he had a job. He made good money, and the brother he just liked to be to himself, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was one certain day that came about. he needed some help. He needed some brothers to help come get him because he was afraid he's gonna get locked up. I just need y'all to come. Can y'all come? Can y'all come get me? Can y'all come get me, man? Y'all my brothers. Y'all the only ones I can call. Okay, all right, brother. You ain't never made no effective plea like this, brother. We coming. We get there, and come to find out, the brother had been cheating with different women and different area
Oh
codes on his
man.
wife. And you Israelite brother, we wonder why your wife ain't never show up to the Shabbat. Now we know it's hard for her to accept her husband bringing her to the Shabbat when she know that he's this
Right.
kind of brother. And
Yeah,
you
yeah.
knowing this didn't want us any deeper into your life than what we saw on the Shabbat, right? You with some fringes on, pumping your fist in the air, talking about that's right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's always those brothers, man, who desire separation. Those brothers who they want you in their pockets. They don't want you in their phone and trying to figure out where they're going and who they doing it with and all this kind of stuff. Them be the brothers, man. Them the brothers that the spirits look for the most. If I'm gonna find me a brother, if a spirit's gonna find, if a spirit want to inhabit somebody, he's gonna inhabit somebody who he can separate. It's hard to take control of a brother who got brothers around him that hold him accountable. I'm gonna take
Mhm.
Ra'ah, I'm gonna make him into a thief. I'm gonna make him into an adulterer. Yeah, but if he don't see Kader in a couple of weeks, he gonna have some problems because that brother probably gonna start calling. And Kader asks some crazy questions sometimes, you know. And so Ra'ah might not be the one we need to talk to. He got 2, 3 brothers around him who gonna ask him the right questions at the wrong time. And that might bring Ra'ah back to the light again. So we're like a bastion, like a defensive wall around one another. If
Right.
we leverage one another for accountability purposes. We're like a bastion of defense, a wall of light around one another. But the problem is brothers not leveraging each other because they're so worried about the next man judging them or discerning their actions. I don't mind a brother holding me accountable because like I told my wife before, it's safer for women when men hold men accountable. Women think they love their man, and they do, right? Women love their men as much as they can do. I mean, as much as they can by them not being your mother, right? Women do love their husbands, right? But most women really don't like the version of their husbands that they have when he ain't got no brothers. When he ain't got no brothers, your husband he's a burden to bear. So it's safer for women when the husband has brothers around him that keep him accountable. Oftentimes, the spirits come in when the wives try to separate the husbands from the brothers. That's when you know a spirit has came
Check. Hey.